There's no doubt that this fire, the Black Summer, was an absolute game changer, and the emotional impact it had on people. I mean, as a producer making the film, it was heart-wrenching, really, to watch your own country just burn and know the reasons why and have that feeling of not being able to do anything about it. So I guess what we do is try to document and record truthfully and honestly and report faithfully to the rest of the world that this will be a game changer and that we will do things differently on the back of this.
One of the reasons that I really wanted to take this project on was that what I could see in the all the human characters that we had who were, stepping up and saying, we're part of the problem, we need to be part of the solution. That gave me hope. I saw a humanity that I hadn't seen for a little while. I saw people really caring for our native wildlife. And I thought, this is something actually quite important to share.
I really hope that people watching the film will come away with a sense of how important it is to put that effort and time into saving every single soul that you can. Also, to come away with an understanding of what an enormous loss it is to have that many animals wiped out in a fire, because, they're all wonderful creatures.
I shoot a lot of natural history, I guess, but often it's observational. The animals are kind of far away and completely wild, and we were trying to film wombats at a property where they, it was kind of a sanctuary of sorts. They were wild animals in natural burrows, but of course they kept approaching the camera and actually became quite difficult to film them in a way that seemed natural.
You're going to be very annoying.
Usually it's trying to find the animals. You might spend hours and hours just to steal a few shots, and in this case we had the animals and it was the opposite. We needed to try to push them away from us in order to get the shots we needed. So it's completely different to what would usually happen.
In the absence of their natural mothers, young wombats will bond with human carers.
Everyone loves the koalas and the kangaroos, of course, but the heroes for me are the wombats. They are, on screen, Wanda and Ben are adorable, but some of the things that didn't make it on screen were them almost harassing the crew as they were trying to film them, because they're just such curious animals.
I've lived in Australia for a long time and I've never actually come across a wombat before. So when I filmed with Wanda, that was just a completely new experience for me. And I never realised that wombats are such characters. Like they're kind of like a cross between a toddler and a dog, and kind of naughty. Hey, do you want me to come in? Oh no, that's not going to help.
They'll get used to me in a second and then...
Wanda and Ben were so curious that it was almost impossible to film them because they wanted to have a look at the camera. It took us a long time to actually get the shots.
The behaviour we saw from the animals was different to what I'm used to seeing, and it's kind of hard to quantify whether that's because they're literally reaching out for help and they recognise in us, another animal that's able to help them. And they must have seen some horrific, or been through a horrific kind of experience. So it's probably not that surprising that they're behaving differently, but it's certainly nothing that I'd experienced before, in many years of filming wildlife. It's traumatic from the camera perspective too.
The first shoot that we did on Kangaroo Island, I got a call back in the Sydney office from Anya, who was our producer on the ground, telling us that they'd filmed some amazing things that day. They'd filmed koala rescues and they'd seen a couple of joeys being rescued, and the joey's mothers couldn't be saved. And then her voice started to shake a little bit.
walked through this plantation, we saw a kangaroo in the distance, and it was lying down, and we were all feeling happy at first. We thought, oh, it's a kangaroo who's just having a rest, and there it is with its joey, and oh look, there's another kangaroo just lying nearby with its joey. But as we walked closer and closer and the kangaroo wasn't getting up, we realised it must be quite severely injured not to be able to get up to hop away. What we saw in the field that day was honestly the most confronting thing I've ever seen in my life. So they've just found a mother kangaroo with a joey, and she's got her feet are completely burnt off. The joeys look fine, but they still have to be caught. And there's another mother lying behind me who looks like she's in the same state.
I knew we had about half an hour to 45 minutes to wait for the guy that ran the wildlife sanctuary to come and help us with his tranquilizer gun. So I kind of moved away from all of the people for a while just to separate myself and just try to concentrate on getting some really nice shots without interaction, just watching the joeys and the mother. So I was on my own watching those roos probably 100 metres from everybody else for at least half an hour, and watching the joeys, nuzzle up to the mum and the look on the mum's face through a long lens. I definitely had some tears in my eyes, which is a first for me. You could almost feel the pain of what she must have been through. It was a difficult day for sure.
Euthanasia is the only humane solution.
Humanity's at its best when there is some kind of crisis, and we see it time and time again that communities band together and help other people, and in this case it was a community banding together to help the animals. And I suspect that particularly that family we were filming with on that particular day, they never had thought of themselves as being wildlife rescuers before that day. So it brought out something in them that they didn't even know existed. They'll be changed forever from that experience, I think, and particularly the children who were, of an age that would have had a big impact on their lives, and they'll never forget that.
When we started making this film, there was one really big crisis on our minds, which was the bushfires and its effect on the animals, and I guess that's why we were making the film. We really had no idea that, only a couple of months into it, would suddenly be facing this other global catastrophe.
We basically headed off on the shoot, and then COVID hit. So we were confronted with this situation of having to wait for it to be safe to film, and there was this narrow window of time where we could go in and capture what had gone on.
I don't think any of us anticipated how quickly it would arrive in Australia and how big an impact it would have.
Basically, we were sort of the last people in and the last people out of Kangaroo Island in this week of last chance to see.
So we actually got access to see a lot of the recoveries that other people didn't. So it was very lucky for us, and we took good precautions and we came home safe and well. But the airports were just completely empty when we flew back. The funny thing that did give me hope was coronavirus. The way that everybody responded en masse in such a diligent and rapid way to really get a handle on it here in Australia made me have hope that we could take really severe action on other things. Right up the tree.
There are people working hard to say, until we deal with climate change, we also have to work out how do we keep these species alive. What's the lifeboat that we build to keep these species alive until we can bring the climate back.